So if you're a fan of my channel, you know I love Vacheron. Today, I think I have one of the most underrated Vacheron that you can buy. It's made out of stainless steel and titanium. It's an Overseas. It's from the Series 2 of the Overseas, which is also one of my favorite Vacherons ever made. It is the Deep Stream. The Deep Stream was a series of watches that featured titanium and stainless steel. They had a few different versions. There was the dual time, there was the time only, and I believe they also made a chronograph. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the gray dial version of the time only. Not only do I think this is one of the most underrated Vacherons that you can buy today, I think it's one of the most underrated sports models that you could buy from the Holy Trinity. Now this watch is on loan to the channel from Bezel. We'll talk about Bezel a little bit more in the video. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a very thin sports watch from Vacheron, the Deep Stream time only. Man, this is a good looking watch. I think this is one of the best looking Overseas ever produced. That's because you get that titanium in the bezel that is a gray color and it has a satin finish, and then you have the stainless steel case, and then you have that combination of the gray dial with the gray chapter ring, and I think that really brings it all together. So you have like sort of a two-tone. It's very, very good combination. I really have always been enamored with this watch, but they are pretty rare and they're actually pretty hard to get. This watch was lent into the channel by Bezel. If you are not familiar with Bezel, you need to check out their app, check out their website. They have over 15,000 watches for sale. They're an actual marketplace and they do their own authentication of all of the watches that are being sold on their marketplace. So that means you get different prices, different conditions, and that's all listed within the listings. And then of course, the watches are authenticated in-house by Bezel. And I actually purchased a watch from them. I purchased my Octo, which is on my wrist, and I worked with one of their concierge. So they actually assigned me a concierge after I contacted them about a specific watch that I wanted. They went out and found that watch, and I ended up buying it from them because it was in a really good condition and it was for the price that I was looking for. This is called the Deep Stream. Vacheron made a few different Overseas with titanium in it. This is the time only. I think they made a dual time as well, and possibly a chronograph. The most recent Overseas that they made with titanium in it is the Everest, which goes for around $80,000. Bezel has one of those for sale as well, and they are charging around $80,000 for it, which is a great watch and I think is amazing, but these come in at a lot less money, and you're getting that gray dial, you have a gray chapter ring, and then you have that satin matte finish bezel. That's the titanium part. Everything else is stainless steel. You even get a stainless steel buckle. It's very similar to what you get on the Series 3. Let's start with the dial. The dial is a sunburst dial, and you have applied indices. Those indices are filled with lume, and they are made out of white gold. So all of the indices are out of white gold. Then the hands, you have fence post hands. Those again are filled with lume. You have a needle for a second hand. All three of the hands, again, in white gold. I believe they are a blackened color. I'm not sure how they actually achieve that, but they are in white gold. So I don't know, Vacheron do that from time to time. They blacken gold for one reason or another, I don't know. Something that is different from the Series 3, you do have a crown guard right here. So that's actually pretty useful. This is 150 meters of water resistance. If you look at the other competitors out there, like the Nautilus and of course the Royal Oak, 150 meters is actually very good. I think they only get 120 meters. So that's just something to note, and of course, this is in titanium and stainless steel. So you can see it's signed with the Maltese cross right there. And then you have these big screws that are holding in the rubber strap. The back of the watch is adorned with a ship. I believe this is an Italian Navy training vessel. I don't think it's on any of the current models because they've gone to clear case backs. What is inside this watch is a JLC movement. So it's obviously a Vacheron caliber. It's the Vacheron caliber 1126. However, essentially made by JLC, and then of course Vacheron get their hands on it. It's finished very nicely and it has a Vacheron rotor on it. That is a very thin movement, so it makes this watch very, very thin. I'm going to show you in just a second. When I show you my Octo, which is classically a very thin watch, this is actually thinner than my Octo that's on my wrist, which is kind of funny. You also get a rubber strap on here. You have grooves in the back of the strap to obviously relieve sweat and heat. And it's very, very flexible, feels really nice. These are very, very nice straps. And you do get a deployment buckle. It's very similar to what you get from the Series 3. Again, it has the Maltese cross motif done on the inside of the scissor. So it's double deploying. I call it a scissor, but it's not really. And then you have the cross again. It is held in by a very large screw, which is really nice, and I'll show you close-up pictures of all of that so you can see what I am talking about. There it is. I mean, the dial on here is absolutely beautiful. It's a gray dial that has a sunburst effect, but you also have the applied Vacheron logo right there, and it just says Vacheron Constantin right there. And then of course you have the Maltese cross. I believe that is in white gold as well. And then right above the 6 o'clock, it says automatic and anti-magnetic. Measurements on this watch are very nice. This is around a 41.5 millimeter watch. It's a little bit bigger than that. However, I think they list this as a 42 millimeter watch. That's because of the crown guard. So if you actually measure it with the crown guard, it's 42 millimeters, but I would say it wears like a 42.5 millimeter. The lug to lug is around 50 millimeters, so 50.3 is what I've measured. And the thickness is 9.2 millimeters thick. That's because of the very thin JLC movement that they're using for the Vacheron caliber 1126. So I'm going to show you the watch that I have on today, and I'm going to actually measure it so you can see how thin this watch actually is for a watch with 150 meters water resistance. Technically an everyday sports watch on a rubber strap. You could really do almost anything with this watch. You do get a screwed in crown and screwed in case back. I do want to mention that. On my wrist today is the Octo that I actually purchased from Bezel, and this went through their authentication process. This was not a watch that was actually available on their website. They had it in 39 millimeters with the black dial, but I wanted it in 41 millimeters with the black dial. They sourced this watch for me. They did it very quickly. I think they came back to me within a day, maybe 2 days, and they gave it to me for a great price. So obviously I ended up buying it. Look at it. It's awesome, and it's in excellent condition. Box papers, all the links, everything. So obviously it was a used watch, but whoever owned it previously, it was in excellent condition, better than the condition that they had it listed for. I actually don't have this affixed to my wrist, so I am resting on the desk. I don't want to have to unscrew that little screw. I don't want to scratch it because it's in really nice condition. But there you go on my 7.5 inch wrist. This is a 41.5, like 41.7 millimeters wide. It's well under 10 millimeters thick. It's around 9.2 millimeters, 9.3 millimeters thick. And you have about a 50.3 lug span, but it does turn down really, really well at the ends of the case. And then of course, the integrated bracelet turns down really well as well. So it fits very nicely on my 7.5 inch wrist. I have no problem wearing overseas. They fit me very, very well. It's a really good looking watch. Very quickly, I'm going to show you the thickness on the Octo versus this overseas. Well, there you go. You can see that the Vacheron is far thinner than the Octo. The Octo is almost 10.5 millimeters thick. So it's over a millimeter thicker than the Vacheron. The Vacheron is really thin, and the Octo actually gets 100 meters of water resistance, while the Vacheron gets 150 meters of water resistance. Obviously, the Vacheron is a lot more of an expensive watch, but it's impressive that they get it this thin with 150 meters of water resistance. So this watch is currently available on the Bezel app or on getbezel.com. So if you are interested, definitely head over to their website. It's very easy to use. It's very modern. I love going through all of the watches that they have to offer. They send out emails with their daily drops, and it's just a very modern, very easy website to use. unlike some other major websites that are selling watches. So definitely check it out. This watch currently on their website is $15,250. There are 3 different versions available, so it's the exact same watch, it's just from 3 different sellers. And you could also make offers on certain watches, I think all of their watches actually. And if they don't have the specific watch that you want, of course, you could always reach out to their concierge. Well, there you go. Lume, very good on the watch. Nothing too crazy, but it's a lot better than any other Vacheron that I've seen. I own 3 Vacherons, and this is basically better than all 3 of them combined. I do wish there was a little bit of lume on that second hand so that you could see it's working in the dark, but I complain about that all the time. Other than that, I think this is a phenomenal watch at a phenomenal price. I know $15,000 is a lot of money. These sell between $15,000 and $18,000 depending on the condition. But when you consider other brands like Patek Philippe, these are a bargain compared to those watches, which are selling for well above retail for no reason. And in my opinion, I think Vacheron are cooler than both AP and Patek Philippe, in my opinion. But that is just my opinion. I think there are some people who share that with me, but I think more people think that the other 2 brands of the Holy Trinity are, the end all be all, but I really do love Vacheron. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Again, this is available on Bezel, so check out getbezel.com or check out their app if you want to see this watch. If you want to talk to a concierge, definitely check them out and tell them Watch Chris sent you. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I will catch you guys in the next video.